A couple of years ago, this Ready Player One scene felt like decades away, but it didn't take that long for companies to take this idea and turn it into reality. One of these companies is CatVR. They brought a VR treadmill that let you walk, crouch, jump, and even run within the game. It was the first consumer-grade treadmill that wasn't hyper expensive, so people could actually get one for their homes. Yet, like any pioneering tech, it had its hiccups. One of them is the cost and complexity of making VR treadmills. It's still expensive enough to make it a hard sell to anyone but the most committed VR enthusiasts. Enter CatVR's latest solution, the CatVR C2 Core. Stripped back to the bare essentials, yet promising to deliver the same VR treadmill experience, but now at a reduced price. Just to illustrate how far we've come, early treadmills catered only to businesses, costing thousands of dollars. Then the first consumer version came and retailed at around $1,500, followed by a second-gen model at $1,300. The new C2 Core, however, breaks a new price boundary at $899 during pre-sale and $999 post-pre-sale. Plus, it will ship to more locations at half the cost of its predecessors. Okay, yes, at just below $1,000, it's still not exactly a pocket change, but it's a small but sure step towards making VR treadmills more mainstream. A big thanks to CatVR for partnering with us and sending us a review unit. They've requested honest opinions, and that's exactly what I intend to deliver. Having been lucky to test all their previous treadmills, today I'll compare them with the C2 Core and share my initial impressions. I'm especially curious to see if this new model really still offers the same experience as its pricier siblings. So what separates the various models? CatVR's products are all about locomotion. First, they have the Cat Loco S, which is not a treadmill, but a wearable that translates walking on the spot into in-game movement, potentially alleviating motion sickness for some users. The first real foray into consumer VR treadmills was the CatVR C. Then came the C2 line, an improved version of the original with a better price tag, which led to the discontinuation of the first-gen model, which makes sense. So what did the C2 bring to the table? Well, better movement through improved sensors, redesigned shoes, and a one-size-fits-all design, so no matter your height, you could step onto the C2 as long as you've got the right shoes. You can upgrade this version to the C2 Plus, adding a retractable seat for things like spaceship flying missions, not to mention integrated haptic feedback and snazzy underglow lights. Fast forward to the recently released device, the C2 Core. It's stripped back, leaving out the fancy stuff like lights and the seat, but it keeps all the key ingredients needed for walking in VR. The Core shares the same shoes and sensors, but its treadmill design has a tweak. There's a new tall pole, making it still accessible to all heights. You still have your full 360-degree range of movement, including the ability to crouch and jump. So, does it deliver the same kind of walking experience? My initial impressions are promising. I haven't detected much difference in walking compared to the other devices. Just like the older treadmills, it's not exactly like your everyday stroll, it's more like learning to walk anew. But once you master it, it starts to feel pretty solid. I tested it with a couple of my current go-to games, Vertigo 2 and Hubris, and the tracking seems to hold up well. However, one thing I did notice is that trying to simulate swimming or flying while suspended isn't going to work. Keep in mind, this is generally an unsupported move on all devices, so I wouldn't advise trying, but I gave this a shot anyway as it's fun. On the standard C2, I could get away with it, but on the C2 Core, I found that it struggles to keep me balanced in mid-air. It's kind of like my attempt to get you to subscribe, but the setup, I was pleasantly surprised. It's gotten incredibly straightforward. The manual is great and they've thoughtfully included everything you need right down to gloves for protection and pre-sorted screws. CatVR software has come a long way too, which is essential for getting the treadmill to work with pretty much any PC VR game that supports smooth locomotion. Setting up game profiles is a cinch, usually requiring only the selection of the controller and walking button that you use. If you're planning on getting more complex with the catwalk, the initial setup might take a bit more time, but once you're done, just save your settings and you're ready to slide. Being a software design graduate, I'm big on good user experience design, and I have to say, CatVR has taken significant strides in improving theirs. But that brings us to some disadvantages of this device. Firstly, the setup, while significantly simplified from previous iterations, still presents a hurdle for those ready to dive right into VR. You need to boot up an extra device, ensure all sensors are tracking, don your VR shoes, and strap in. If you're using a wired PC VR headset, there's the additional step of tending to cable management. It's a bit like prepping for a marathon when sometimes you just want to go for a quick sprint. It does, however, get a tick for compatibility with Quest VR headsets, which allow wireless streaming of PC VR games, which is what I did here using Virtual Desktop, and it was really nice. After the initial setup, I could get ready to play in about 5 to 10 minutes. And the Cat Nexus could be an alternative. This allows you to use treadmills with standalone Quest games. It works with the standard C2, but sadly it doesn't yet support the C2 Core. However, CatVR is actively working on this, so I hope to test it in my final review. Then the size and weight. The C2 Core is a beast of a machine, not something you could easily move. I even had to persuade the delivery guy to bring it up to my apartment on the 7th floor. He wanted to leave it downstairs because that's apparently normal with big pallets. Thankfully we have an elevator, or else I don't think I would have been able to persuade him. But I gotta say, setting up the device in a small room went surprisingly smooth. You need some space, but thanks to the detailed manual that even tells you how to remove the boxes, I was able to do it nicely. I mean, it makes sense as the treadmills has been designed with a space-saving mindset for those who don't have a lot of room to walk in VR, so it should be ideal for smaller rooms. I found that even if you don't feel like tiring yourself out by walking yourself, you can still stand on it and use it for rotating while still using the joystick for walking. But now let's talk about in-game navigation. I think those accustomed to joystick-based artificial turning might have some trouble getting used to turning with the treadmill. I usually like to turn with my physical body even without the treadmill, so for me, adapting to the treadmill's turning mechanism was more of a natural progression, so if you're like me, you can probably get used to it pretty fast. Walking backward or strafing left or right is also possible by using certain feet gestures, but I could not get into this. It feels slower, making the joystick more convenient for these movements, so I've been using the joystick in combination with walking myself, and that works pretty well, but I plan to practice more to see if that changes anything. That does make me guess that fast-paced competitive games might not be as suitable on the treadmill, as joystick users could have an edge due to their speed. But with single-player slower games like Half-Life Alyx and Vertigo 2, using the treadmill has been fun. However, the big question remains whether this will become a permanent part of our VR experience or end up as an expensive piece of furniture. I'm keen to incorporate it more into my VR routine and provide a full review. You may have noticed that I skipped a video for the previous C2 due to time limitations, but I plan to make up for it by reviewing both in an upcoming video. My initial verdict is that the C2 Core does deliver on the treadmill VR experience like other versions. While certain movements are off the table, all the most essential walking movements work as well. I'm happy to see a relatively more affordable price, more game support, and better ease of use, which could lead to more frequent use. I'm definitely interested to see what this will bring. Are you interested in getting one now, or should the price be lower than this? If so, what price range would you think would would be best? Let me know in the comments. For those interested in getting one already, I'll put links along with a discount code below, which will be available after August 1st when the pre-sale starts. You don't have to use this link or discount, but it helps us earn a small fee that helps support the channel. Anyways, thank you for watching, like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to join us beyond reality. And if you want to see more, check out this video right here.